Hare Krishna. This video is in response to Nityanand Mishra's allegation about the purpose of Srila Prabhupada. So Mishraji claims that the word demigod has been used multiple times in Bhagavad Gita as it is, which is wrong, and he cites certain reasons for the same. In essence, what he would like to say is that eminent personalities like Satyanarayana, Dasa, and others have not used this word demigod. They have used the word God for the Sanskrit term Deva. And it's also mentioned that certain English dictionary references are given, that these English dictionaries also indicate that the word demigod is not right. So now I would like to discuss all these points in great detail. First of all, we have to look at it from the English point of view, the choice of words. So on what authority we are choosing what should be the word to be used. And even if we accuse saying that something is wrong, the usage is wrong, there should be substantial authority, there should be substantial evidence to prove that. So are we considering dictionary as the authority for this? For example, our Nityanand Mishraji has cited various dictionaries like Monier Williams and Oxford as the authority to say that these words are wrong. Is that the right authority? I would also like to emphasize that there are other authorities. There is the Arsha Prayoga, there is also the Prayoga of the Rishis, there is also the Prayoga of the Sadhus, there is the Prayoga of the Acharyas. Krishna himself says, So these Tattvadarshis are the right authority on this knowledge, is what is said. So all this has to be looked into. So one problem with Indians is that they are not accepting the authority of the Shastras. So they are accepting the authority of people like Monier Williams and Oxford more than Shastras. Here Nityanand gives reference of the word demigods, and the English dictionary meaning of demigod is partial god or half god. Okay, that's true, definitely. That is the meaning of it. It's a partial god. It's not the complete god, what we call as the supreme lord, the supreme controller. So this is slightly less than that supreme. He's not. One thing Indians should understand, it's not dummy god, D-U-M-M-Y. It's not dummy. Dummy indicates false, whereas demi indicates slightly less powerful. So now, are these devas who are indicated in the Shastras less powerful than what is called the supreme lord? This requires discussion. This requires a philosophical approach, not just some sentimentalism to establish, oh no, the God whom I like is considered less, or the God whom I like is considered more, I don't like is considered more. It's not sentimental. We have to be open. And now the argument is on Vidvat Parishad. So when the Vidvat Parishad had Vidvamsas, so the expectation is that all the Vidvamsas get together, they argue based on Shastras, they argue based on philosophy, and it's not just mere sentiment. So let us see what is said in the Shastras. That makes it a solid authority. So it is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita by Krishna. The first reference, the matter of discussion is Bhagavad Gita. Mishraji is bringing out Bhagavad Gita as a matter of reference. So now let's look into Bhagavad Gita itself. What does it say about this topic of demigods equal to Deva or demigods not equal to Deva? What does Bhagavad Gita say? So it is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 7.23. Antavattu palam tesham tavat bhavat kalpamedasham devan devo yajo yanti mad bhakta yanti mamapi. Antavat. Tesham phalam antavat bhavati. The phala, the results of theirs is antavat, which ends. And who worship them? Tad bhavati alpamedasham. Alpamedas worship them. The people whose intelligence is alpa worship them. Whom? Devas. Devas are worshipped by these people, and the phala they get is antavat. Devan deva yajo yanti. Those who worship the devas go to the devas. Mat bhakta yanti mam api. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, my devotee comes to me. Krishna clearly makes a differentiation as to what is the result of worshipping devas and what is the result of worshipping him. Those who worship the devas go to the devas. Those who worship him go to him. And the results offered by devas are antavat. So he clearly makes. So the first authority of Bhagavad Gita, which Mishraji is using as a reference, that itself says the results are, there is a difference between the worship of devas and worship of the Bhagavan. Krishna is referred to as Shri Bhagavan Vacha. So Shri Bhagavan and Devas, there is a difference that is clearly said. Okay, what are the results? Now, if that is the case, why do people worship the Devatas? Kamaisthaiste ritadhyana prapadyante anna devata tam niyamastaya prakritya niyata swaya. Bhagavad Gita 7.20. Those kamaihi taihi ritadhyanam. Yasya jnana ritavati kamaihi. Now you tell me Sanskrit. Through lust, one whose knowledge is stolen by lust, by kama, by material desires. Prapadyante anya devata, devataha prapadyante te. They worship the devatas whose knowledge is stolen by kama. Tam niyamamastaya, they follow the rules and regulations according to the worship of that deity. Prakritya niyata swaya, and based on their natures they follow. It's true. In India, you see, there are so many different forms of worship, and some people have tamasic worship, some people have rajasic worship, some people have sattvic worship. That's why there is even offering of meat to the deities. All these things are there because of the type of worship that is happening, because of the desires of people. So this is what Krishna further says. In Bhagavad Gita 4.12, Krishna says, Kankshata karmana siddhim yajanta iya devata kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. Karmajaha siddhi bhavati manushe loke. Kankshata karmanam siddhim prapatya iya devata. Those who worship out of material desires. Okay, material perfection, those who want material desires, they worship the devatas, and very quickly they achieve the results of that. So those who desire temporary benefit of, I want a big bungalow, I want a big car, I want a good wife, I want lot of children, all these things are temporary material desires which Krishna discriminates from the eternal desire, eternal liberation. So those who are behind these things, they worship the devatas. So sahayatna praja srishtva purvavacho prajapati anena prasavishyadvam esavistvashtam. That's their job. What is their job? Their job is to provide for the temporary desires of people, satisfy the temporary desires of people. The devatas exist. And praja srishtva purvavacho prajapati, they exist to satisfy these desires. God has made the system like that. Okay, now, okay, Krishna may say this. First of all, Bhagavad Gita is an authority, we have seen this, but even if you want to question, saying that everyone will say their glories, so Krishna is saying his glories, what about others? No, that's not the case. Let us see what the other devatas say in this regard. There is the Garbha Stuti in the Srimad Bhagavata Dashama Skanda, 10th canto, 2nd chapter, verse number 26, where Devaki, Krishna is in the Garbha of Devaki, in the womb of Devaki, and all the devatas are doing this stuti. Satyavratam Satyaparam Trisatyam Satyasya Yoni Nitache Satye Satyasya Satyam Rada Satyam Netam Satyatmakam Tvam Sharanam Prapanna. Tvam Satyatmakam Satyasya Yonim Satyaparam Trisatyam Sharanam Prapanna. To you, Supreme Lord, who are the absolute truth, who are the topmost truth, who are the truth in the three worlds, who has given birth to truth, such a great extraordinary personality, Sharanam Prapanna, we offer obeisances, we surrender to you. This is said by all the devatas, headed by Brahma, Brahma followed by Indra, Rudra, Ganesha, Kartikeya, everyone come and offer these prayers. Further, Indra offers his prayers in the same Dashamaskanda after lifting the Govardhan hill for after putting torrents of rain for 7 days. When he comes there to offer respects, so this is what he says. Namastubhyam Bhagavate Purushasya Mahatmane Vasudevaya Krishnaya Satvatam Pataye Namaha. Namaha Tubhyam Bhagavate Bhagavate Tubhyam Namaha. My dear Lord, I offer obeisances to you. Purushasya Mahatmane, Hey Mahatma, Hey Purusha, I offer obeisances to you. Who is that person? That is Vasudevaya Krishnaya. To Vasudeva, to Krishna I offer obeisances. Pataye Namaha. So please take my obeisances. This is what Indra says. Okay, what does Brahma say in this regard? Brahma says, Pashyeshame nadyam anantadye paramatmani tvayapi maya mayini mayam vittayekshitum atma vaibhavam hyaham kiyan aicham ivachi ragnau. Archi ragnau. Just like in the fire, there is a archi, there is a small spark in the fire. Similarly, in the great fire of yourself, I am just a spark. This is what Brahmaji says. The supreme creator of this universe, the topmost Deva, Brahma is saying that I am just a small spark in front of you, great fire. And what does further say? Adakshamasvachyuta me rajo bhuvo hi ajantastvam pratagisha manina ajavale panda tamonda chakshusha eshonukampyo mai natavan iti anukampayo mai natavan iti. I am your servant, you are my master, accept me as your master. Rajo bhuvo, I did out of passion, out of rajoguna, I did some mistake, kindly forgive me for that, and I offer my obeisances, kindly accept me. This is what Brahma says in the Bhagavad Purana. Okay, what does Rudra say? Shri Rudra Uvacha Jitanta Atma Vidavarya Swastaye Swastirastume Bhavatardhasya Radham Sarvaswama Atmane Namaha. Sarvasma Atmane Namaha. I offer my obeisances to you, O Supreme Lord, who are Jitatma, who have won over everyone, and who are Swasti Astumi, who are doing good to me. So such a great soul, I offer my obeisances. This is what Rudra says. Shiva says in the 4th skanda of Bhagavata, 24th shloka, 24th adhyaya, verse number 33, shloka number 33. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnor aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samacharam. He further says to Durga Devi elsewhere, Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param, which is the Parama Aradhana, which is the greatest type of worship. The greatest type of worship is Vishnu Aradhana. This is again confirmed by Rudra himself, Lord Shiva himself. So that is why it is not just out of sentiment that ISKCON is doing something. So there is a clear discrimination in the Shastras between Deva and Bhagavan. What you call Shri Bhagavan and what you call Devas, there is a difference. Now for that difference, there is a position of superiority, there is a position of less superiority. When you have a position of less superiority, that is used as, the word is used as demigod, especially Prabhupada. Now you may say, according to Monier Williams, it is not so. According to Oxford, it is not so. See, Oxford is not at all an authority on Samskrita. They may be an authority on English. So Oxford can be accepted from an English point of view, not from a Samskrita point of view. Monier Williams may have some connection with Samskrita and also English, but however, they still cannot understand the Shastric language. Interpretation of Shastra requires not just some grammar, some learning of Sanskrit here and there. It requires Samskrita Vyakarana Dhyana, it requires Nyaya Dhyana, it requires Mimamsa. You should know how to interpret the words. There are rules for that. And after all these things, then you can actually make some sense of the words. And even in that, there are so many schools of thoughts in India. So with all these things, just because of a certain Oxford or something telling some word as wrong, that doesn't become an authority. That is not the scholarly way of dealing with things. There are all these factors, all these shastras that have to be considered. One of the Vedanta sutras is Tattu Samanvaya. Tattu Samanvaya means there should be a Samanvaya of all the scriptures. So a proper Samanvaya requires a lot of endeavor which Acharyas have done since generations, and that is presented in English language. And look at the result of that. The result is Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is causing such a huge impact that millions of people are taking to God consciousness all over the world. In the ages when Sanatana Dharma is declining, the people who are followers of Sanatana Dharma are themselves not interested in their own religion. They have given up their worship, they have given up their habits of going to temple, and primarily they are engaged in imitating the West. Under those circumstances, even the language that comes out of people's mouth, parents, when they take children out, I see the parents are, it has become fashion that they speak in English with their children. What to speak of Sanskrita? They don't even speak in their own mother tongue. This is the fate of the Sanatana Dharmis today. They speak in English, it has become fashion. Under those circumstances, this Bhagavad Gita as it is, and its author, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, has really protected Sanatana Dharma by bringing millions of people, or at least thousands of people all over the world, into Sanatana Dharma, into Krishna Bhakti, into devotion to Krishna. So when our Indian, so-called Indian Sanatana Dharmis are failing in this regard, this Bhagavad Gita has had the potency to create such an impact. So first of all, one should make a serious study of Bhagavad Gita as it is, the way Krishna has recommended. How Krishna has recommended? By following the spiritual master. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, approaching a guru, offering service to him and asking questions sincerely. That is the way they can study the science of Bhagavad Gita. Now, what could have been done is at least bare minimum, the questioners like our Nityanand Mishra ji should have at least considered giving a neutral viewpoint. Yes, these are Prabhupada's Sampradaya views. The Sampradaya is Vishnu Sarvottamatva. Then there are other Sampradayas in India who have other Sarvottamatva. Maybe there is scope for that. Nikama Kalpataro, Dalitam Palam. Okay, in the Vedas there is scope for different thought processes based on people's level of Shraddha. So that can be accepted. At least minimum a neutral point of view, an accommodating point of view where this Sampradaya is also accommodating could have been presented. On the contrary, the Bhagavad Gita that has caused such a huge impact is the only Bhagavad Gita which is questioned. And many other sampradayas and many other thought processes are not questioned at all. So that is something which really makes it biased. And this has to be, this is seriously questioned. So with all this criticism, what is the impact? Nothing will happen for the Krishna conscious movement. Nothing will happen for Sanatana Dharma. The caravan will pass and the preaching will become more and more. More and more people will take up to God consciousness. More and more people are voluntarily surrendering to devotion to God. What Indians are doing today? Look at the Russians who risked their lives just to propagate this message of Sanatana Dharma, just to distribute this knowledge, just to distribute these books. There are great books like Salted Bread which have reference to all these things. What are our people doing here? They are just offering criticism to these great editions which have caused such a great impact. So I seriously request that this message has to be taken seriously, and there are at least minimum you should understand that this is a genuine sampradaya among the so many sampradayas. And if you want to further proceed in advancement of knowledge, yes, there are genuine reasons from the Bhagavad Gita itself to accept why there is a God, there is a demigod, why there is a Bhagavan, why there is a Deva. In the Bhagavad Gita itself, there are many reasons for that. And that requires a philosophical approach, philosophical discussion, which cannot happen on Google. When we send something over email, we may Google it and we may send it, but that's not the Panditya. Just like there was a discussion between Mandan Mishra and Shankaracharya, there was a mediator, there were proper rules of discussion, and there were proper rules of debate. That is required today. We cannot just have all these things over the internet through the Google. So my humble request to all the critics is kindly go through the Bhagavad Gita as it is, make a serious study of Bhagavad Gita as it is, approach us with discussions. We cannot just rant on YouTube. We have to sit and discuss, okay, why Swamiji has done this? And despite this, how he is becoming successful? It requires spiritual potency to be successful. If an edition is really wrong, it will not have the spiritual potency. So it requires spiritual potency to be successful. Now, still if the stand is that, okay, this is wrong, kindly make the same impact. This is my challenge to the proponents. Kindly float more and more videos and create the impact that AC Bhaktivedanta Swami has done. Write more and more Bhagavad Gitas, distribute them, and create an impact all over the world where people are more and more voluntarily surrendering to loving devotion to Krishna, voluntarily taking up Sanatana Dharma for generations. So kindly make this impact. Then your voice will have matter. Till then, the Bhagavad Gita caravan will pass. Nobody can stop. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.